We've got to get started with the Republican National Convention, which kicked off Monday night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as planned, despite the assassination attempt against Donald Trump on Saturday in Pennsylvania. After we taped our show on Monday, we learned that J.D. Vance is Trump's selection as his running mate, vice president. Vance will give a speech tonight for the first time as the vice presidential nominee. The first 2 days of the RNC have been highlighted by former Trump rivals like Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis last night stepping to the microphone to fully endorse him in front of the Republican delegation. We've also seen celebrities and influencers taking the stage to back Trump, including Amber Rose, who, by the way, I thought did a good job. She spoke on Monday, and Dana White, who's expected to speak on Thursday before Trump takes the stage to address his party. Believe it or not, at this particular moment in time, that ain't the biggest news in politics. The biggest news is that Democratic representative out of California, the one and only Adam Schiff, one of Trump's biggest critics, biggest cynics, he made an announcement just today, and he's the first Democrat to do so since the assassination attempt against Donald Trump, calling for President Joe Biden to step aside, to not run for the presidency of the United States of America. As we speak, we're trying to reach out to Adam Schiff. I don't think we'll be able to get him for today, but make no mistake about it, I plan on having him on in the next few days or so to hear what he said and why he's taking this step. He's running for his Senate seat in California. And obviously, there's a lot going on in the state of California. We recently saw news that Elon Musk, owner of X, formerly known as Twitter, has decided to move his company's headquarters to Austin, Texas. He's departing from the San Francisco Bay Area, alluded to the crime in the Bay Area influencing his decision to make such a move. And he made sure to add, or at least the news reports made sure to add, that indeed he's going to be donating about $45 million to a super PAC in support of Donald Trump becoming the next president of the United States, the 47th president of the United States. So there's a lot going on, and we've got to unpack it for what it is. First things first about Adam Schiff. For him to call for Biden to step down is a huge, huge deal, because when you're running for a U.S. Senate seat, and you've already been on Capitol Hill all of these years, and you're taking this position, make no mistake about it, you ain't doing it by accident. You're doing it because you know that you have a level of support behind you. Now, some polls have shown there's a number of Democrats who are adamantly against Joe Biden running for re-election. I think the number was at 17 before the assassination attempt against Donald Trump, and now it's increased even more, according to some reports. Adam Schiff, in my opinion, taking this position on this particular day during the RNC, the Republican National Convention has been taking place over the last few days in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's not an accident. He's seeing what's transpired. He's seeing what's unfolding before his very eyes. He's also seeing our president, who clearly has lost a step, and he's saying enough's enough. And I don't blame him. Let me be very, very clear. I don't blame him. I support Adam Schiff's position, and I'm not apologizing for that to anybody. I'm getting sick and tired of people acting like somebody is insulting or denigrating Joe Biden by making such or taking such a position. It's just not true. Don't fall for the okie doke. That's BS. That's not what's going on here. One of the things that we have to understand, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Social Security exists in this world. You know, once upon a time, it was at age 65. I think that I forgot what the number is today. But it's called retirement age. Does that mean everybody needs to retire? No. Does that mean we should engage in ageism? No. What it does mean is that, for the most part, you've lost a step as you age. And when you've lost a step, the last thing you need to do is be harnessing an inordinate of increased responsibility on your shoulders, particularly when you seem to be fleeting, when you seem to be a bit more feeble, when you don't seem to be what you used to be. It is not an insult against the president of the United States to say that. This is not about ageism. Nancy Pelosi is 84. Nobody has said anything to her about needing to step away because of her age or because of a cognitive decline or anything like that. She's sharp as a tack. Whether you agree or disagree with her, she's sharp as a tack. Nobody has said anything about her. So this is not about age. This is about him, that man, President Joe Biden. And if you are a liberal, if you are somebody on the left, and you look at some of the policies that he has put forth, you don't really have much of a problem with them. We saw at the RNC, we saw Marjorie Taylor Greene lying through her teeth about how so many hundreds of thousands of Americans have lost jobs in the United States, when under the Biden administration, according to CNN, it's increased by 4.7 million. 4.7 million more jobs. What is she talking about? So we know that's a lie. But the point is, no matter what you think about what job Biden has done, whether it's with the economy, whether it's with geopolitical relations in terms of dealing with foreign entities and what have you, no matter what way you slice it, you might look at him and say, he's done a good job. Some might say otherwise, obviously on the right. I'm saying it doesn't matter. We're not talking about what he's done. We're talking about looking at him and saying, are you confident he can give you 4 more years? Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of folks wondering whether or not he can give you 4 more months. We've seen him. We've seen him walk. We've seen him talk. We've seen him stumble. We've seen him forget. You've got folks even at the White House admitting that doctors specializing in Parkinson's disease have come to see him. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing wrong with saying to an 81-year-old who served 36 years in the Senate, 8 years in the White House, as a vice president, 4 years as the president, 48 years total of service to this country. There is nothing wrong with saying, we really appreciate what you've done. It's time for somebody else. There is nothing wrong with that. That is not insulting. That is not denigrating. That is an American citizen looking at the country, looking at the direction that we're going in, and you have a feeling one way or another about who's in office and whether or not he could give you 4 more years. And if you truly believe in Kamala Harris, what's the problem? If you truly believe in Gavin Newsom, what's the problem? If you truly believe in Hakeem Jeffries or Wes Moore or somebody else, what's the problem? You got a bullpen, right? They're younger, more vibrant, more energized, clearly healthier. No evidence of cognitive decline from any of the names I've mentioned. And beyond, what's the problem? There is no problem. Let's stop acting like, oh my God, by calling for him to step away, we're insulting him. We are doing no such thing. I'm going to respect the office of the presidency of the United States. I'm not going to disrespect the president. I might disagree. I might lament your actions on a case-by-case basis, but I'm not going to denigrate and insult and be disrespectful to the president of the United States. I don't care who he is. And I'm certainly not doing that with Joe Biden. And neither is Adam Schiff, who has been a staunch supporter of his. We just got 2 eyes we can see. And the question is, why won't y'all? You got about 73 folks according to my research, about 73 folks in the House and about 28 folks in the Senate, all over the age of 70. We're not engaging in ageism here. So it's not about that. What we're simply saying is, but when you get a certain age and we see slippage, like we have seen with the president, what's the problem? What's the problem? I'm wondering why Jill Biden hasn't said anything. Why Hunter Biden hasn't said anything. That's your husband. That's your father, respectively. You got nothing to say? Got nothing to say. Hasn't he done enough? Hasn't he done enough? And when you get a certain age and you've accomplished what Joe Biden has accomplished, one must ask themselves, do you want to lose this election? Your legacy would be rock solid if you walked away right now. In a lot of people's eyes. But if you lose this election because you refuse to step away, when you know there's slippage, gonna be able to live that down? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And the reason why I'm saying it is because I've been watching the RNC convention each night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I know that Amber Rose took a lot of hits. Y'all kick rocks with that. She did a good job. She did a good job. Let me tell y'all something right now. It ain't me. Y'all don't want to accept what I'm saying, that's fine. I'm a centrist, ladies and gentlemen. I don't operate on the fringes. I don't like extremes on either side. I don't like racist. I don't like bigots. I don't like those folks. I don't like folks on the extreme when you're talking about woke culture either, where folks' jobs could be on the line for mispronouncing the correct pronoun or something. I don't like that. I don't operate on the fringes. I'm a centrist. I voted for one Republican in my life. I ain't vote for Donald Trump, but I'll be damned if I'm not going to vote Republican in the future based on some of the things that I've been seeing. It won't be for this guy, but I leave myself open. But most of the time, I vote Democrat, all the time. Only Republican I ever voted for was Chris Christie for the governor in New Jersey. You see Monday's themes for the Republican National Convention. Make America wealthy once again. Tuesday, make America safe once again. Tonight, make America strong once again. Thursday night, make America great once again. So you got wealthy, safe, strong, and great. 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 That's their theme. You want to laugh at it? That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, it's working. It's working. Remember, Trump got about 8% of the black vote in, 2016, 2020? You see somebody like Amber Rose. You hear about the potential of, I'm not going to even say names because I don't want to be wrong, contributing, who happen to be black to the Republican National Convention and performing or speaking on behalf of Trump. Y'all. This ain't Kanye West rolling into the White House, calling Trump a superhero, looking ridiculous. This ain't that. Amber Rose gave a good speech. She talked about gas prices. She talked about shopping. She talked about stuff that hits home. Okay? And with her 20 plus million social media followers, don't think people are ignoring that. You can dismiss it all you want to. And there's a lot of people in the Republican Party, they didn't want her there at all. But she's a conscientious observer. And Trump knew what he was doing by making sure she was on that stage. Last night, Nikki Haley looked like she was biting her own damn tongue. She looked like she was sick to death, having to sit up there and put her support behind Donald Trump. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis rolled out there, and even though he gave Trump some props, he was more about speaking against the left. I thought he gave a powerful speech. He wasn't interested in being friendly. That's his MO. Okay, it worked for him in the gubernatorial race that he won by a landslide for the state of Florida. It damn sure ain't gonna work for him in the general election. That's why he's not the presidential nominee, the GOP nominee, because he got smoked by Trump, and then we all know that. But here's the deal. His speech was still strong because it spoke to a lot of people on the right who are clearly frustrated. And it also speaks to some independents, not this one, but it speaks to some independents who are frustrated by some of the extremes that you see on the left. So we got all of that going on, okay? But the one, okay, was Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, the former press secretary for Donald Trump, the one who is the daughter of former Arkansas Governor Huckabee. I mean, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she gave a very, very powerful speech. When she called out MSNBC and talked about the insults, when she talked about her family being forced out of a restaurant, when she talked about a professor or a teacher, rather, of a 3-year-old spitting on her car, when she talked about these things, it hit home. because it showed a lack of decorum, a level of insensibilities. It showed all of those things. And so all I'm trying to say is that this ain't the typical. It might look that way when you look at the faces and you see very, very few black faces in the place. Yeah, that's true. But let me tell you something. When you see the speakers and you hear the messages, this ain't the typical RNC convention. So you the Democrats, and your turn's coming next month in Chicago, you better be ready. And Adam Schiff is saying, we ain't ready if this is our nominee. There's supposed to be a roll call that the Democratic National Convention scaled back, basically virally inserting President Biden as the Democratic nominee for the presidency. Well, guess what? They held off on that. It's not an accident. Why? Stuff is getting thick up in here. And you got to pay attention. And so now what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of people. And a lot of people's going to be talking. And you know what's going to come up. And it's going to come up. And by the way, I'm not blaming the Democrats for this. We're going to hear a lot more about Project 2025. We're going to hear about Project 2025.